She knew I did not know the things that I ought to pray for, so she had to pray for me. Not only just pray for me, but she had to step in my place and pray for me and take my spot, because I was not praying as much as I should. I did not know the meaning. I did not know the power of prayer. And my mother knew that. And at the time, I did not know that. But since God has given me an understanding, He has showed me that, because God has created a path for my life. And when I walk down that path, there are things that's trying to take over my life. And I may deviate off of that path. But because my mother prayed for me, God had to pick me up, turn me around, and place me back on solid ground. Because of my mother's prayers. Whenever He could not let me do what I wanted to do. When I wanted to do things with friends that's not of God, He had to turn me around because of my mother's prayers. Because my mother's faith is big enough to move a mountain. And when you have that much of faith, God has to act on that faith. The Bible says, whatever you ask in my name, that I will do for you. And so since I was born and until now, my mother prayed over my life. And so since she prayed with faith, and she's obedient to God's word, God had to act on my life. See, and my parents, my mother and my father, they never forced God into my life. The only thing they forced me to do was come to church. That's what everybody should do, though. But they never forced God in my life. He never. A lot of people think that my dad makes me read the Bible, makes me pray. And
come on.
It's because my dad, a pastor. Like I'm a normal kid. My dad just a pastor. So and they didn't have to force that into my life because God has God is able to use them to speak to me how God needs to speak to me.
Amen.
So when God needs to speak to me, He speaks through my parents. And it may not be God physically in their ear. God may put something on their heart to tell me something.
That's right.
I remember a time, this is when I knew, I was like, all right, God got a plan for my life. This is when I knew God was like, for real. I was at home, and I was supposed to be at school. But I was at home, and my dad got home early. So I was a little scared. And so I'm like, what am I going to do? So I'm like, and you know what? I'm just going to hide in the closet. So I just go in the closet. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to hide here until it's time for me. When I was supposed to get home, I'm going to just walk out and act like I just got home. That was my plan. And let me tell you, when my dad gets home from work, he goes straight to his room. But this day, I'm like, what in the world is going on? He comes up the stairs, and I hear his footsteps getting closer to my room. I'm like, where you going? You need to be going to your room, not here. So we get closer and closer. And the next thing you know, he opens my closet door. And he's not even surprised. He opened the door, I think he's gonna be like, oh my God, you ain't go to school? No, he opened the door and he said, God told me to come in here. He did. He said, God told me to come in here. And then my dad walked away about 15 minutes later, came back, and he said, God told me to tell you, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, you're going to end up in jail. See, I wouldn't have known that if my father wasn't the man who he is today, if he did not have the relationship he has with God, because God would have not been able to speak to my father to tell me. So if he didn't tell my father, I would have kept on doing what I was doing and going down a road of destruction. But because my father is so obedient and has a strong relationship with God, God had to speak to me because there is a calling on my life that has to happen. Amen. And as a young adult, as a child, even if you're in